Hey guys, this is MakerOfBeauty, and this is my tutorial for my template number 2. Here's just showing you the close-up. It's got very nice waves on the top, and with this template I'm also set it up in such a way where you can use the one size for both your medium and your large, and you can see that I already have all of them cut out and ready. And the way I'm going to style it is I'm just going to curl the petal on both sides downward, so it's going to give a look just like this, which I'm going to do right now. I'm just going to give it a nice tight curl. I did think about making the size a little bit bigger, so then you can give it, an additional curl like right there on the lip. But I personally struggle with doing that, and I decided not to get too creative. But maybe I will go back and adjust the petal where I make the sides floppier, so it has that real estate space to give it, a nice curl in as well. So I'm just going to give it a dab of a glue, and I'm going to show you the assemble of the petal. Press it down hard. This petal is 4.5 inches and my base is 6 inches, and the reason to that is my petal is pretty wide, and so I want to make sure that I'm not running out of the real estate space as it starts to get assembled. And this is just a small adjustments that you need to keep in mind and consider when you work with different petals, right? Because for one petal was 4.5 inches, a base of 5 inches would be just fine. But for the other petal that's also 4.5 inches height, the base 5 inches may not be enough. So there is like no golden rule in terms of whenever you have something that is 5 inches, and make sure that your base is, this much. It's more of a, I'd say that, make sure you give yourself more real estate space rather than less. And this is how it's gonna look. Again, right, because I'm someone who likes to have the space in between, to have it more of an open look. I'm leaving quite a bit of a real estate space. It's going to be covered up when I put my second layer of petals, but if you wanted to have it a close up, then you would just bring it in here and and have the petals overlap, and so you would have it fuller petal in a different way. So it's really whatever works best for you. So I'm going to quickly finish up with putting my remaining petals. By the way, I think I'm pretty unique in having so much of a real estate space between my petals. I see petals, by other people, and just about almost always the petals are touching each other. And it's not a bad look. I just want to work smarter, where even though my petals are not so big in a height, right, it still gives me a very nice size at the end. Plus it doesn't consume as much of a paper, and it still has a very nice full look, and not having to worry about setting up my projects for both small, medium, and large sizes, if you will. It just, I have less to worry about and remember when I set them up to cut it out. So my subsequent petal is going to go right in between. I don't think I'm going to run out of the real estate space, and so I'm not worried about leaving one side without a glue so I can tuck it in. And as I was saying, right, you can see it nicely covered up the space in between my first layer of petals. So let's quickly put the remaining one. By the way, with this petal, you also could have actually folded in two first to give it a nice line right in between those two waves where you can see. I'm gonna bring it up a little bit closer to the camera, like you can see it right there. You could have folded here and have a line. That would have been nice as well. So just finishing it up quickly right in here. And I think I might be running out of the hot glue sticks. I'll then need to grab a couple of them. And as you can see, I did not need to worry about this. Is pretty, still have quite a bit of a real estate space. Okay, so there goes that. Now let me grab a couple of the glue sticks because I'm running out of the glue, and I'm going to finish up with my last layer. Okay, so I'm doing my small ones in gold. So as I was mentioning in my video for template number 1, I want to be able to have a white and gold backdrop, and this is going to be very nice that it's not just all white, and it has some sparkle to it, and I didn't think that just doing the gold centers was going to be enough. Now I don't think I'm going to overlap on this one either, but just to be on the safe side, I left the edge unglued to make sure that if I need to tuck it in, it's there for me. Oops. My glue gun just fell. I think I'm gonna have to replace it very soon because it's been heating up a tad too fast, and it's really burning my fingers from time to time. And you know, did a good job for $7 hot glue gun. I'm gonna need to move this one a little bit closer, I think. Yeah, let me just make sure. Yep, okay, so this is just a good example to show you that this paper can definitely take quite a bit of a beating. I'm going to unglue this, even though it's already adhered, and you can definitely see there are imperfections, but it's going to get covered up. So I'm going to re-glue it, and this time I'm going to position it slightly closer to this petal, just like this, and press it down very hard to make sure that it covers up the part that ended up getting torn. Okay, so I didn't need to tuck anything in, but better safe than sorry. My goodness, my glue gun is just not standing very well today. Okay, so let me end up. I'm gonna close this up. Okay. I don't have my chopstick, so I'm just gonna use my tweezers to press it down because I don't want to put my finger in there and I'm just gonna try to get rid of all that excess glue out of there. Okay, so that's ready. Now let's think of what we can do for the center. I mean, this is definitely pretty, right? But because I have all of this extra white space, you know, just having this alone is not going to be enough, because then all of these imperfections are going to populate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a fringe for it first, and I'm going to cover that up right there so you don't see it, and then I'm going to put the white paper on the top of it. So I have my fringe. Let me quickly glue it, and I'm not going to do anything super fancy with it because it's just really serving it as a base for me. So I'm going to glue it side to side. Oh, I probably should have bent it first, but oh well. Thankfully it's not so big that it's gonna give me a hard time. Now, because I put the glue all at once, right, I kind of do have to work pretty fast to make sure that the glue didn't completely dry out. But if it does, it's okay. I'm just going to give a little bit more glue after that. Okay, just making sure that my ends are matching one another. And looks like my glue did dry up right here. Okay. There is this Russian saying, it says that, you know, measure 7 times and cut only 1 time. It's definitely appropriate and many times. Okay, just gonna press it down to make sure that it lays as flat as possible. And I'm just gonna give a little bit of a glue in the middle. Okay, so now I have the sides glued onto each other. So I want this, right, to go around as my base and make sure that I am able to get this as full as possible. So, and I do want it to be pretty wide, right, because this is going to go in the middle of it. So I will not start rolling it from the end, but rather I'm going to leave it a good I guess like a hole in it, right? And so I'll be gluing it starting like from here. I think that'll be quite big enough of space just by looking at it inside, right? I can see it where it'll be good enough to open up to cover all of this, but not so big that it's going to, you know, go too far out on the sides, and there will be plenty of a space to put my white flower on the top of it. So, you know, I'm just marking it with my finger to know that this is where I want to put my glue. I'm just going to give it a dab, roll it over there like this, and now I have it in place. And of course I burned myself, which is not fun. Okay, now that it's cooled off, I can just grab it and hold on and squeeze it for a minute to make sure that it adheres. And now I'm gonna finish up gluing the rest of it. You know, because I am gluing it starting, you know, off center quite a bit, I'm gonna give it the glue all the way down to make sure that it really does stay in place. And so here's a little bit right here. Okay, just hold it, and now I'm just gonna finish up. You know, it's a little bit of a natural angle for me because I'm making a tutorial. Normally I would not exactly hold it quite like that. Let me flip it this way, it's a little bit easier. Okay, so I have my French ready, and now I'm just going to open it up. And so carefully pull it on a side, and you kind of want to bend it at the end, right? Because I need it to lay pretty flat. But you want to bend it without affecting the fringes itself. I still want it to be fluffy. So just like this. You know what? I'm going to give it a dab of the glue because you can see that the glue didn't get pushed out at the edge, and I don't want the edge to stick out or start coming apart. So I'm just going to finish it up in here. And I'm just going to turn it back and show to you guys what I do. So don't try to push it all the way from here, right? Because you have several layers of the fringe, right? So just gently do one row after another. The first thing is to get it laid flat, and then we're going to fluff it out a bit more. So I need to be careful here. Looks like my fringe didn't get cut through. My blade's getting a little bit dull. I'll be making a trip to Michael's. Okay, so now I'm moved on to the other row, and I'm going to continue to gently keep opening it up. Have to be careful because the base is pretty thick, so make sure you don't break your paper. Okay, so now it's pretty open. What I'm going to do is just gently lay it down this way and press it down to help it to go all the way down. In the meantime, I'm also going to start pulling each one of this apart to give it a fluffy look as much as it's possible. And you can see it didn't cut like all the way through, which is a bit of a pain now as I'm trying to open it, but I'm just going to have to gently pull it. It's like there was not enough pressure or something. It's a little bit annoying, but I can still work with that. Let me just move my flower out of the way. Okay. Okay. So it's starting to get to where I want it to be. Let me just open up this side as well. Oh, yeah. It would be so much easier if it was cut all the way. I should have checked it first and just assumed that everything is fine, and I grabbed it, and now I'm struggling a little bit. And I don't want to lose any of my fringes. Okay, so that's that. So my plan is to put this in here, and then to put the flower on the top. And now, because the fringe is also the gold color, it's completely covering all of the spaces between the all of the petals, right? Like, I mean, you can't see it. I'm gonna bring it up. You'd really have to put your hand in there to try to see all of the imperfections. And so let's go ahead and glue it. Let me try to move this back and forth, and the reason I'm doing that is because right now between the thick cardstock, right, because the 65 is pretty thick, and the glue, the base of it is pretty heavy. So I'm just going to give it a bit of a tug so it's looser, to help me to force it into round, even round shape. I think this is as good as it gets. So now I'm just going to put a layer of a glue. Make sure you don't drop any glue on your petals. Okay. It is in place, and I'll just gently press it down. You have to press and hold, because you know the edge of the paper of the fringe is not very thick, and so you really need to hold it in place to make sure that it has a chance to adhere. What you can also do is lift this up and press it down this way. Okay, so that's looking good. Now this is going to go on the top of it. Let me just see where I want to put the glue, right? Because there is no point in me putting the glue right in the center, because the center will never touch the end of my base. It just, you know, the height is too much, and I'm not trying to like squeeze it into that opening. It's more that I'm trying to cover this opening. So really my glue is gonna go in here, so it has a chance to adhere to the fringe itself. And that's why I'm just sort of like measuring to try to see where I need to put my glue. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the glue right, you know, like in a straight lines between the petals, but I do want something to help me to press this down, so I'm gonna see which tool I can grab. Right, I think that will do the trick for me to press it down. Yep, that's beautiful. Okay, so now let's do the glue. And don't do it all the way to the top of the petal. That's not necessary. Just midway will be sufficient. Okay. This part you do have to be careful, right? Because you only have one time chance to adhere it. Okay. So now I'm just going to press it down so you can hold it. And I'm going to lift this up. You can also consequently, you know, gently go under with your finger and just make sure that the fringes are sticking to the petals where the glue is at. That did not do it. Okay. Let me try to think what else I can do. Looks like I'm gonna have to put a glue. Yeah, definitely didn't even touch the fringes. Okay, so that did not work, right? Because it didn't touch my glue at all. So maybe what I need to do is actually put the glue on the fringe and then put the flower on the top of it. Okay, so I'm just gonna do it at the very base. Definitely giving it a generous amount of the glue because I want to make sure that it stays put. Okay guys, so the putting glue directly on the fringe had worked. The flower is solidly on the paper and you can see it is quite beautiful. And let me just give you a close-up so you can see the shape of it. And I love the combination of this pearly champagne and the metallic gold. That's what it's called. In any case, I hope you found this very educational, informative, and you'll purchase my template. Any questions, feel free to email me.